I get it, there's a ton of synths on the market that look amazing in the product photos, but when you plug them into your DAW or bring them on stage, they end up feeling flat, clunky, or just plain underpowered. I've spent a lot of evenings scrolling through endless forums, watching YouTubers demo the same gear, and trying to separate the hype from the real day-to-day experience. If you've ever hesitated at the checkout because you weren't sure whether a keyboard would actually deliver in a live set or hold up in a home studio, you're not alone. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Roland Jupiter sits in that sweet spot where vintage nostalgia meets modern flexibility. It's not just a reskin of an old classic, it's built around Roland's ZEN-Core synthesis system, which means you get a massive library of sounds that can be layered, split, and morphed on the fly. What makes it different from a lot of digital-only keyboards is the way those layers feel in a real performance. You can pull a fat analog bass from the Jupiter 80 era, then slide into a crystal-clear digital pad without missing a beat, all while keeping the same tactile control surface. If you're the type of player who likes to program sounds on the fly, the Jupiter's hands-on knobs and sliders are a game-changer. In my tests, I could start a track with a simple 3-oscillator lead, twist the filter knob, and hear the tone evolve in real time, something that feels almost impossible on a mouse-driven interface. That level of immediacy is why a lot of studio musicians say they can finally move from tweaking in the box to performing with the box. The built-in polyphony is generous enough that you can stack several layers without the voice stealing your notice on a big chord. For a 61-key instrument, that's a real win because you can keep the keyboard compact for gigs while still having a sound engine that would normally sit in a rack. But there are trade-offs you need to be aware of before you click Add to Cart. The first thing I noticed is the learning curve. Roland packed a lot of depth into a single unit, and the menu system, while logical, can feel dense when you're trying to recall exactly where a specific parameter lives. If you're a beginner who just wants a plug-and-play synth for a few basic patches, you might spend more time digging through the interface than actually making music. The unit does come with a comprehensive manual and a few tutorial videos, but those are optional, not mandatory, and you'll need to set aside a couple of evenings to get comfortable. Another practical point is the power draw. The Jupiter's is built like a piece of studio furniture, with a solid metal chassis and a full-size keyboard. That durability is great for a touring rig, but it means the synth isn't the lightest thing you can carry. In my own setup, I paired it with a small flight case and a compact power supply, but the overall weight added a few pounds to my road bag. If you're a bedroom producer who mostly works at a desk, that extra heft isn't a deal breaker. If you're hopping between small venues and need to fit a lot of gear into a single gig bag, you might want to weigh that against the convenience of having a built-in drum machine and multiple sound engines. Speaking of drum machines, the Jupiter's includes a full suite of Roland's classic drum sounds, from the iconic TR-808 kicks to the crisp snares of the newer digital kits. This integration means you can sequence a full beat and a melodic line on the same keyboard without needing an external drum module. In practice, that saves you a lot of patch cabling and lets you build a complete arrangement on the spot. I tried building a techno track where the bass synth, lead, and drum pattern were all triggered from the Jupiter's, and the workflow felt surprisingly smooth. The only downside is that the drum section, while extensive, isn't as deep as a dedicated groovebox. You won't get the same level of sample editing or per-step velocity control you'd find on a standalone drum machine. Who should buy the Jupiter's? If you're a professional or serious hobbyist who already owns a DAW and wants a hardware synth that can both complement and replace software instruments, this is a solid investment. It shines for live performers who need instant access to a huge palette of sounds without having to flip through multiple keyboards or laptops. The built-in morphing capabilities also make it a great tool for sound designers who love to experiment with evolving textures. On the other hand, if you're just starting out and your priority is a simple, one-button sound, or if you're on a tight budget and can get away with a less feature-rich keyboard, you might find the Jupiter's complexity and price a bit overwhelming. In terms of value, the Jupiter's worth isn't just the sum of its specs. It's the fact that you're essentially getting a